Laura Wellington, also known as Doormatmom, did a TEDx talk 6 years ago. The TEDx talk is called What She Got That I Don't. Aside from that, I have absolutely no context. I've never seen it, never heard it, did not think about it for the last probably 4 years since I put it in my watch later. So we're going to explore this together and see, I guess, who she was 6 years ago. The first comment literally goes, what she got that I don't, a relationship with her kids. And that is so funny. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I'm stealing that.
This is new. Oh my gosh. Alrighty then, let's begin.
Was there I'm sorry, I'm already stopping, but that is just the fakest thing I've ever seen anyone do leading into a TED Talk ever. This is new. All right, let's begin.
I want you guys to close your eyes and listen. Really, really listen to the poem I'm about to share because I want you to hear it. Okay, ready? Close your eyes until I tell you otherwise. Okay. You are the blood in my veins and the beating of my heart. You are my first waking thought and my last sigh before sleeping. You are the bone of my bone and the breath of my breath. You can open your eyes now.
You are the tickle between my ribs on days it is too hard to laugh. Wait, no, that's a parasite. I have worms. Does she just really, really like bad poems? Or, I don't know, bad is subjective, Max. She likes poems that feel simple to create and to print and don't need to go any deeper than the people they're trying to impress themselves upon, I guess. They're just words. And she doesn't have any real meaning behind them. She wants to sound deep when she isn't, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Regardless of whether or not it's her poem, she has a live, laugh, love poster in every room of her house, and she thinks it's just like the deepest thing ever.
Beautiful, right? Yeah. That poem was written by Juliette Marelier.
Okay, well, Juliette, I'm sorry that I was mean about your poem.
I learned of it for the first time when it was texted to me one morning by the man in my life, along with the words, "That is how I feel about you." My heart stopped. It stopped. I felt like I had just won lotto.
People should have expectations of their partners, and it is not everyone is really good with words. Not everyone can write poems and songs and just their feelings out all the time. But I think you should have a higher standard for your partner than them being able to send you a poem and go, LOL us, and then your heart stops and you're like, wow, damn. Glad we're married.
You see, I never expected to meet this man, and nor was I looking for him. We came to be as a result of two pivotal moments in my life. The first, 11 months ago, and the second, 16 years. I'll begin with the latter.
Is she going to tell me that she is going to do a whole TED Talk on somebody she's known for 11 months? No.
When I was 35 years old, I lost my husband to cancer. I became a widow. I was left with 4 little kids to raise, the oldest being 9. 2 failing businesses to turn around or bury alongside him. A huge hole in my heart and a new future to find. And those were the imminent challenges. The gifts, It's the first time ever I'd meet me, the woman you see before you today. I also became keenly aware of how short life could be. That combination released the inner kamikaze pilot in me. No joke. I began to live voraciously, without any fear. And I'd meet, and then I'd exceed all of my challenges. I'd go on to own a number of businesses, write several books, create an award-winning children's television series, launch a celebrity blog, become a licensed foster parent, and raise now 5 kids to be surgeons, scientists, actors, and athletes. And I travel the world. And what's interesting is throughout all this crazy and busy, never once did I lack for suitors. Not once.
We kind of just got a lot of information there. Like, she's just like, whoa, look at all these cool things I did after I lost my husband. Again, there are plenty of things that I don't want to make fun of people for. Like, it's such an easy joke to sit here and be like, oh, did she murder her husband? Right? I don't think we should be making fun of people for having lost their spouses to cancer. I wouldn't make it out of that. I would not. If Lee dies tomorrow, you will never see me again. That being said, 6 years ago, I don't think feels like her problems just magically happened. So I want to know, like, these kids, these athletes, actors, these surgeon kids, where are they now? It's weird to see kind of who she was before the estrangement, but we can pick up a few details as to who she thinks she is.
These men would commonly say to me, "You're different. You're different." And I'd respond back to them in my head, of course, "I know. 5 little kids depend upon that fact every day." Not cocky, just truth. It's this disposition that would find me on a solo vacation in Amsterdam last April, a trip I would unexpectedly turn into a popular dating book a few months later.
How many books has she written? It's a little difficult for me to criticize things just because they are for the sake of attention. Because a lot of us just want attention, and there's nothing wrong with asking for it. If you're writing books just to make yourself seem interesting and you want people to think you are, who cares? That has nothing to do with me. Keep doing that. It's the point where she creates books that are attacking children and giving people bad advice that they're then going to use practically. That's a problem. But writing a book that just makes yourself sound cool and super dateable, like the world wants you and you're not sure if you want the world back, what do I care? Make yourself sound like a superhero. She calls herself Supermom. If she would have left it at that, after saying she raised 5 kids, I don't think anyone would have complained. But she went to the point where those kids had to come back and be like, well, actually, we don't talk to her. So, but we're also like in this little liminal space of knowing who she is now and watching who she was and not knowing if who she was then is the person she is now. Who knows where she was 6 years ago and what she was doing? Who knows? Who knows if 6 years ago her kids were all her best friends? No idea. And we have this like third person benefit of knowing what comes next. We unfortunately don't know when it comes though. And so I don't want to sit here and criticize people who at whatever age she is, she's thriving and hopefully trying to just be a good person regardless of who she ends up becoming. I want to criticize the person that she becomes.
Frankly, I just needed a break. I wanted to eat mayonnaise and french fries by a canal.
But also like, dude, who does a Tedx talk that's just not for attention?
I wanted to view some great art, and I wanted to visit the tulip gardens in season because I happen to love tulips. That spelled Amsterdam to me, so I hopped a plane and I took off.
Were your kids in this situation?
And while I was there one evening, I decided to have dinner outside the hotel at a local pub, a place I'd passed by earlier in the day. So I picked up my Nook, left the room, sauntered down the street, found the pub, walked inside, and took a table next to the bar. And just as I opened my Nook up to read, I became distracted by two women seated at the bar having a very excited conversation. One was telling the other about an extremely bad date she had had recently. And the question became whether or not she should see this man again, despite how horrendously he had treated her. Now, frankly, I knew the answer to that, and I wasn't even on the date, okay? But she didn't, which was really, really concerning. So as I continued to eavesdrop, three things happened. My ears began to bleed at what I was hearing. My eyes rolled to the back of my head, and I laughed out loud. None of it nice, I know. It was unintentional, and at least I'm honest about it. That reaction caused these two women to turn towards me and draw me into their conversation. And what they got from me over the next hour were needed lessons.
She's probably much older than them in this situation, and I'm sure she knows something that they don't. And it's not her just always inserting herself into situations because she knows better than everyone else. I'm sure that comes later. Later in life.
Lessons in self-respect. Lessons in valuing yourself as a human being and as a woman. Lessons in holding your standards high in dating, in life, but also in dating. Lessons too many women today need, despite the progressive age we live in. They either need them or they need to understand them, because in doing so, it makes all the difference in the world. What did I get in return? I got gratitude, new friendships, and the suggestion that I write a needed dating book, something I had no intention or interest of doing, mind you, despite how complimented I felt.
We're going to take a very small time out here. The amount of times I've had random people tell me I should write a book over things that I really know nothing about. Sometimes I just say words. It comes with the humility of understanding that I'm not that guy. I'm not the person that is interesting or capable enough to sit down and put 200 pages together that are worth reading. I cannot take those compliments. I can't take those random compliments. I don't believe them. How interesting it must be to be the person who does. The person who was told at 15 they were a good singer when they were a really bad singer, and so now they just sing randomly at parties. Or the dude that grabs the guitar and goes, anyway, here's Wonderwall, knows 2 chords, just goes for it, and everyone's like uncomfortable. But because nobody tells him to stop, he's like, yeah, I know. Anyway, I signed up for America's Got Talent. Many more people get told they should write books than the amount of people that should actually write those books. And I think she's one of those people. However, at the very least, she is someone who is willing to do the work. You don't have to be interesting. You don't have to have something to say. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be anything more than the average person to write a book. You just have to put words together from page 1 to however many pages you want it to be. That's the hard part. And she did it. Congrats on writing a book. I hope it sold okay.
Fast forward a week later, the idea haunted me. It haunted me to the point that before I knew it, I had a signed publisher, a 5-week writing deadline, and a 6-month release date, Valentine's Day of all days.
Okay, 5 weeks is not long enough to write a good book.
None of which was a problem because the book basically wrote itself. Now here's the irony and the humor in the story. During the editing phase of that book, I asked a very close, dear friend of mine if she could give the book a quick review, quick top to tail, and she agreed, as any good friend would, right? But her schedule became incredibly busy, and so she passed the task, unbeknownst to me, along to a gentleman friend of hers, also single, also dating, also having a tough time of it. She really thought the book might help him find his way. And she was right. It did. All the way to me. The rest is history, folks. Me. The rest is history, folks. All the way to me. The rest is history, folks.
I do not like that laugh. Anyway.
You ever hear the phrase, it'll happen when you least expect it? You ever hear that phrase? What that really, really means is you need to meet you first and make your life and happiness the priority before you can ever expect to open the door to the right dud. I mean, really, dude. I mean the perfect man for you. The one that will send you poetry and will find it in his heart to forgive you when you publicly share such an intimate moment between you two, purely to help others through a time.
You think that if she did have someone who wrote her poetry rather than just shared random poems with her, she'd be mad? She'd be like, no, I'm the writer. Your poems suck, dude. I appreciate it, but it sucked.
Through a talk like this. Say that 10 times fast. No, you really, really need to know who you are before you can ever know who you need. Unfortunately, too many single women, and especially too many single older women, get this backwards. They seem to think that you need to meet the man first, for validation, to truly begin to live. That thinking is the kiss of death to their love lives and usually results in a ton of waiting, very little living, and even more regret. So I urge you not to be one of these women. And if you are one, stop it. Just stop it. Switch your thinking so that that proverbial door I mentioned earlier in my talk doesn't become more of a barrier to all that you are, want, and deserve. That's not poetry, my friends. That's a tragedy, encompassed by one single phrase, not romantic by any means, but keenly accurate. I'll never know. Thank you.
I like the phrase, that's not poetry, my friends, that's tragedy. And I just imagine Oedipus sitting in the audience going, see also Doormatmom, this woman is in love with her own words. I'm so glad this amazing person who's not like other girls gave these strangers some lessons. Lucky them. I'm sure they were very sincere when they said write a book. Can't wait to read it. Yeah. Yes, that too. Like, do you I just put that together. The girls that she was talking to were probably like, why don't you just write a book then? Oh, dude, these people have no self-awareness. Anyway, the talk itself was not that bad. I think you just give annoying people a platform. And I don't think she's dumb in the things that she says here. I think she's just annoying. Like, she wants to feel like she's smarter than the rest of the room. So she's giving everybody advice that they didn't necessarily ask for. But there's no real harm done, I think. Laura Wellington. Here's Jane. See Jane go on a date. See Jane fail. Oh no, Jane, no! I mean, really, what's Jane got to do to land a man so she can finally kick singlehood to the curb? Dating is a nightmare for single women today. I will say, like, yeah, dating sucks. I have too many friends. I'm perpetually online, chronically, if you will. And most of the people that I know that have actual dating issues are men. Two of my woman friends have dating issues, but they also have big foreheads. That kind of feels like it's on them. Guys, that's a joke. Stop it. I just name dropped one of them, so I have to remember to cut that out. Hope she's good. They don't have big foreheads, all right? I just think it's funny. One of them does. One of them very much does, but she knows. okay? One time I hit her with a, "What up, big dog? You got a lot of forehead. I like that." And she thought it was funny. How many reviews does this have? 5? Can you look up how many copies of book sold? Ah, you know what? We'll make this its own video at some point. I'll just sit here and read her dating novel, dating book. At some point in the last seemingly 6 years, she went from being someone who wanted to sit down and give people advice on how to date and who to be when they get older to being completely against the children she said she raised and instead forcing her narrative that estranged children are bad and that their parents, their good parents, should rise up against them. I don't know when. I don't know what her Joker moment was. I don't know if she expected her kids to read her book and none of them did and she took offense to it. No idea. Whatever happened that forced her to become the monster that she is now sucks. That sucks. And I hope it doesn't happen to anyone else. And it's probably as simple as it's who she's been and her daughter cutting her off because of it forced it out. Oh, but that sucks for everyone involved. I don't want to be the parent. I don't want to be the child. I don't want to be a friend. I don't want to be anyone in that situation. And I have to stop letting everyone have a TED Talk, dude. Not everyone has something to say just because they can talk for a while. But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching Mizma's TED Talk with me. It was really nice to not do this alone. I don't ever want to do things like this alone. So I'll see you all soon. You don't have to say goodbye to me, but you can say goodbye to Toast. I'll give you a better look at her. Okay, go. Get out of here. Go.